Hi, this is Larissa Coe. I'm going to teach you about story elements. I think that the setting is probably the easiest element of a story to comprehend. It's the time and locations in which a story takes place. So whether the story takes place in America in the 50s or in a fictional world in a castle makes a big difference to the story. So it's definitely an important element to consider. Characters are the people, or sometimes talking animals or animated objects of a story. The protagonist of a story is the main character. An antagonist is an adversary or opponent. So, for an example, Harry Potter's protagonist is Harry Potter, and one of the antagonists in most of the books is Professor Snape. Static characters don't change throughout the story, like the Minions in Despicable Me, and dynamic characters do change, such as Gru, who has a real change of heart and mind throughout the course of his movie. Round characters are ones that we know a lot about. We know maybe their personality, their thoughts, their backstories, and flat characters are ones that we know very little about. The plot is the structure of the story. So we start with the exposition, which sets the stage and introduces the characters and setting. And then some kind of conflict is what gets the action going. So a conflict is a problem or struggle between two or more opposing forces, not necessarily characters. And we'll talk more about this later. After the initial conflict, we have the rising action. The majority of the story is usually this suspense-building phase, which leads up towards the climax, which is the highest point of suspense. And then we have our falling action and resolution, which is where things get tied up and at least some of our questions are answered. There are a lot of types of conflict that you could have in a story. Here are some examples. You could have person versus person, maybe an enemy that the protagonist has to fight. Person versus self, maybe there's some kind of battle within. Person versus society, nature, technology, fate. The list could go on, but there always has to be some kind of struggle that keeps the story moving. Last but not least is theme, which is the message of the story. So this is some kind of idea or conclusion that you can draw from reading the story that applies not only to the story itself, but to real life. Storytelling is used in our society for a lot more than just entertainment. You can also learn a lot from them about yourself and society and your own beliefs, as well as the beliefs of others. I think that's part of the reason Libba Bray said there is no greater power on this earth than story. To review, the setting is the time period and location that a story takes place in. Characters can be divided into a lot of different things, including static and dynamic, protagonist, antagonist, flat and round. The plot of the story leads up to the climax and goes back down, and it always includes some kind of conflict, and the theme is the message of the story. Again, my name is Larissa Coe, and thanks for watching.